All right, let's talk about Windows 11 version 26H1. If you've heard the name floating around, there is one thing you need to get straight right away. This is a very specific, targeted release for brand new Snapdragon X2 devices. It is not a general update for the PCs you already have.
So here's the bottom line, right up front. For your existing fleet, all your Intel and AMD machines, you just maintain course. Keep doing what you're doing with Windows 11 24H2 or 25H2. But for these new Snapdragon X2 devices, you pilot them only. And look, this isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's baked into how this all works. Your strategy for pretty much your entire fleet stays exactly the same.
So let's be absolutely crystal clear on this. Version 26H1 is what we call a scoped release. Think of it as a special factory image, built just for this new hardware. It is not an in-place update. And that's the part that really matters. Your current machines on 24H2 or 25H2, they're not going to be off for this update, and you absolutely cannot upgrade them to it.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Microsoft themselves said it on their IT Pro blog. They call it a targeted release that is not being made available through broad channels. So right from the start, this was designed to be a limited, special-purpose deployment.
Okay, so if it's not a regular feature update, what the heck is it? Well, to really get it, we need to put it side by side with the annual updates we're all used to managing.
This really lays out the two different worlds we're talking about. A standard update like 25H2 is for everybody. It runs on that familiar Germanium core, and it just shows up in Windows Update. But 26H1, that's only for new silicon. It runs on a totally new Bromine core, and you can only get it preloaded from the factory. And here's a really important detail for servicing. 26H1 does not support hot patching. That's a critical difference.
The whole reason 26H1 even exists is to support this new generation of chips. We're talking specifically about the Qualcomm Snapdragon X2 series, the Plus, the Elite, and the Elite Extreme. The takeaway here is as simple as it gets. If your company isn't buying devices with these specific chips, you don't need this OS version, period.
So we keep mentioning this platform core. What is it? The best way to think about it is like the fundamental engine of Windows. Your current versions, 24H2 and 25H2, they run on the Germanium engine. 26H1 introduces a brand new specialized Bromine engine, built from the ground up for this new ARM architecture. The engines are just different, and that's exactly why there is no in-place upgrade path from one to the other.
So what we have right now is this kind of weird situation where Microsoft is basically running two parallel tracks for Windows 11. But it's really important to understand this is a strategic and temporary move. It's not a permanent split, and there's a good reason for it.
This timeline really paints the picture. Think of it like a highway. The main Germanium track is the big highway everyone is already on with 24H2 and 25H2. The new specialized Bromine track for 26H1 is like an express lane running right alongside it. They're separate for now, but if you look way down the road, the plan is for them to merge back together into one big highway, probably around the 27H2 release.
So why go through all this trouble? Why the split? Well, it's actually all about protecting you and your enterprise stability. It lets Microsoft support these really cool cutting-edge hardware innovations right now without having to make huge, risky changes that could mess with the millions of devices in your existing fleet. It's how they innovate without breaking your stuff.
Okay, so we've covered the what's and the why. Now let's get to the most important part. What do you actually need to do? We're going to focus on two key areas: procurement and your management tools. First up, procurement. This is a big one. It's simple, but you got to get it right. When you buy a new device with standard Intel or AMD chips, you'll get 25H2, no surprises. But when you buy a device with that Snapdragon X2 silicon, it will show up with 26H1 preloaded. So the action item here is to get your procurement team to update your internal SKUs to flag the OS version. This is huge, especially because some laptop models might look identical but ship with different chips inside.
Now for a sneaky little risk that could really bite you, your management tools. Think about it. You probably have some automation logic in Intune or ConfigManager that says something like, if the version is greater than 25H2, apply this policy. Well, that logic is going to see 26H1 and think it's just the next version, and it might apply completely wrong configurations. The fix? You have to get specific. Update your compliance rules and device groups to look for the actual 26H1 string or the new Bromine build numbers, which all start with 28XXX. This table basically pulls all those risks together. And you can see that while messing up your tools is a medium risk,
Getting procurement wrong or buying a device that hits an upgrade dead end? That's high impact. The good news, though, is that the fixes are all straightforward. You just need to audit your filters, tag your SKUs, and block manual installs. It's all about being proactive.
All right, let's bring it all home with the final strategic recommendation. It's clear, it's simple, and it's going to apply to just about every single organization out there.
Here is your 4-step action plan. Number 1. For your main fleet, stay the course. 24H2 and 25H2 are your standards. Nothing changes. Number 2. If, and only if, you're looking at that new Snapdragon hardware, create a dedicated pilot program for 26H1. Keep them separate. 3. Update your procurement rules. Flag these new devices so there are 0 surprises. And 4. Go validate your management tools. Make sure your filters and reports can actually see and correctly identify these new version strings. And that leaves us with one last, crucial question you should be asking your team today. Because look, the technology itself is manageable. The biggest risk, as always, comes from process gaps. So, is your procurement process ready to tell the difference?